sis.
I'm pretty sure he meant biscuits.
And we back. Man, what's happening?
Another episode of the Biscuits and Gravy podcast.
Another week, bringing y'all another topic, all the hotness. We know y'all want to listen. We know you're ready for it. So we're going to give it to you.
Yes, sir.
So this week, we're going to be talking about something that's near and dear to our hearts. Because we don't understand about how a lot of people mess this up. Well, we do understand because we messed it up, for sure. But keep messing it up. Be 50 and 60 messing this up. So the topic is going to be finances, keeping up with the Joneses. We decided to use this as like a fact check show. Typically, we do, 3 different questions or whatever, and we talk about it and we do our thing. This is going to be more about specific topics, what they are, how we deal with them in our lives, some personal things that we've messed up, done well, some things about family members and stuff, maybe that we don't understand why they do it, why they've done what they've done, stuff like that. So for intro to finance, let's talk about some of our first personal finance mistakes, do's and don'ts that we've learned along the way.
Man, I can start by saying, even though I was honestly around about 15, 16 years old when I started to realize how important even owning property was. There's a show on, I think it's BET called Blew the Bag. And almost like they highlight or celebrate how much money has been blown. But on a smaller scale, some of the bad decisions I made is, not only merchandise in terms of clothing and jewelry that brings me no return at all, even cars that lose value immediately after driving them off the lot. In addition to that, rims, the biggest speakers. Man, I remember one time I tell this story when I got my first credit card.
Right.
Because I know about bad credit, so.
I think I heard this song.
Yeah, so they
heard this story.
They gave me a credit card for $300. That was my limit. And me and my infinite wisdom, I go to the mall, me and my cousin, we finna floss, ball out of control, need $300 because we loaded. And I like these glasses. I go to this glass place, where they sell glasses, and I buy a pair of shades, Vogue brand, for $250. And I swipe it, no problem. To this day, I don't know what them doggone shades are. $250, and I just got this credit card. Just stupid, man. Just young and dumb. But like the old people say, man, when you know better, you do better. And we're just trying to educate some people, man, with this show.
I'll tell you right now. And not being taught this for whatever reason. I remember when I got to school and I went to Florida State, so I got to Tallahassee. The bank I had, I actually worked at. So you think I knew better. I worked at high school.
Okay.
It was Washington Mutual, which is now Chase Bank.
Yeah.
They didn't have any in Tallahassee, so I had to switch banks. So I went to Bank of America. Didn't have any. Okay. No. It wasn't Chase at the time.
It was Washington Mutual.
It was Washington Mutual. They had no Washington Mutuals in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
So I had to go. I went to Bank of America to open up a new account.
Cool.
Went, opened up a new account. No big deal. That way I could get money from family, whatever, stuff like that.
When you were in college, they were able to transfer money?
Bank of America was one of the only ones. They were one of the only ones. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
You couldn't do that. Yeah. I know at Washington Mutual you couldn't either. In order to do a transfer, they actually had a form you had to come in, fill out.
Almost like the MoneyGram type deal.
Right, exactly.
All right.
When I was in undergrad, Bank of America could.
Yeah.
So that was another one of the reasons why I chose Bank of America as opposed to any other bank.
Okay.
So I go into the bank, open up the account, and they're literally understanding that I just got to school and pitching me on a credit card.
Sure.
I just turned 18. Yeah. Actually, when I got there, I wasn't 18. When I wasn't 18, it wasn't turned 18 until the fall semester.
Yeah.
So, turned 18, switch up the account. They like, oh, you should sign up for this. Of course.
It's a setup from the get-go.
Why not?
Of course.
Sure. Interest rate was, I don't know what the hell.
What is interest rate?
Interest rate could have been 100. And I was like, whatever, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I do it, and I think my limit was $500. I think I spent that $500 in like a day, probably.
Of course.
You think you made a minimum of payments? How much could the minimum payment be? It's like $30.
About like $25, $30.
Bruh,
they want you to make the minimum payment.
All up. They got me on a $500 credit limit because I really didn't care. I didn't understand credit and how important it was.
Yeah.
Also didn't understand how much savings played into like your livelihood, your life, different things you had to save for, and I even split up savings into different things. There's savings for stuff that I want, savings for stuff that I need, savings for stuff that just may come up, and then a whole different type of savings for my kids. And what may go on with them.
See, I just had money, then I had savings, and in terms of my savings, it was like that's strictly for emergencies or if I'm working towards a goal.
Right. And we'll get into that about my thoughts about savings, because I used to feel that way too. But when I wanted something, in assessing whether it was a want or a need, depending on when I was going to acquire it or buy it or whatever. When I was younger, being stupid, I would leverage it with credit, stuff like that, and didn't understand.
I think it was just, man, not even stupid, just immaturity and ignorance, just not knowing.
Yeah, just didn't know. Just didn't know. So I decided that if I really wanted something, high dollar purchase, stuff like that, I'm going to have to save out of my own personal free money budget a little at a time until I can buy it cash. Now, we both play the credit card game. I may buy it with the credit card because I can get these mileage points, whatever, cash back, whatever it is, whatever they're going to offer me for spending money I was going to spend regardless, but I'm going to pay it back immediately.
Yeah, so that you won't get charged
immediately. And I think a lot of people play that game.
Well, I play that game. I tell you what, though, we'll touch on this as well. When you are born into an African-American household, because I've been black a long time.
Yeah, for real.
You know, the mindset is different all the time. Yeah, the mindset is different, man. They see credit card. I've heard it described as the devil. No, you don't use no credit cards unless it's an emergency.
That's the devil word.
That's and you know, honestly, credit cards can be very beneficial with you if you have discipline and self-control. And when you have that, you can use it for what it's worth, because they're banking on you not to pay it off and make that interest on you, and also the merchant charges for you using it. They making money all day long. But you can play the game and you can play it successfully, and we'll touch on a bunch of those things throughout the show. And I want to add that I learned these things from the financial institution of the city of Pompano Beach Fire Department around the table, where it's predominantly white people. And I sat and listened, asked questions, and they educated me on a lot of stuff. And I'm bringing that knowledge to y'all. For sure.
So, and that's our first topic. First topic is going to be investing. And then we're going to talk about credit, and we talk about debt in our own personal lives. And these some facts, like I always bring stuff I looked up, because just to educate ourselves and educate our people. Anybody's listening, part of Business Grade, your family. So 15% of families report spending more money than they receive each month. 43% of Americans spend more money than they receive each month and borrow or use credit cards to finance the shortfalls. Like it's 43%. It's like 50% of American families. That's what they're doing. 57% of Americans use credit cards for convenience and do not carry over a balance.
But you say do not carry over a balance, just for clarity. You mean they
That's gotta be wrong.
Pay it off?
No, they do carry over a balance.
Okay.
They do.
That's what I thought.
So they buy something on credit, then carry over a balance.
So in other words, now you're paying more. To make it as simple as terms, and sometimes me and my wife have this conversation, it's like, okay, let's purchase this on the credit card, and it costs $10. But if I don't pay this off by the end of the month, that $10 is not $12, $13.
Right.
And the credit card company, who's already rich, is getting richer.
Well, the thing about credit to me, it almost seems like it's like a financial like almost like slavery type of thing. Because think about it, with credit, I have to have it in order to acquire things like a home, stuff like that. It's going to take me time to build it. And if I ever decide I don't want to deal with it anymore, I have what I need. I've paid off everything I've paid to you, owe you. No matter how high my score was, if I don't carry some type of credit balances, whether it be credit cards or in debt to something, my credit score will go down.
Yeah, they refer to that as credit to debt ratio. And the fact of the matter is you are in absolutely slavery, because even biblical speaking, and I always make this known, and it won't change, I try to base my life and my opinions, even with my finances, every aspect based on biblical principles, because that's what I hold dear to me. Even biblical speaking, it says you are a slave to the lender. So it is absolutely a form of that. It just goes back to the same way they try to keep you in this box. If you don't have credit, not that your credit's bad, you just don't have it. I can prove to you that I make enough with my job to purchase said item, yet you won't give it to me because I haven't established credit. Credit is just debt, but debt being paid on time or managed properly, which gets you to a proper score.
It shows you can manage debt properly.
Sure.
So even with my income, if I wanted to buy a home and I don't have the appropriate credit, you can tell me no.
Absolutely.
You'll tell me no.
It's like, you can afford this house all day long, but because you don't have enough credit, we ain't going to be able to do it. In fact, you can be dead broke, not being able to afford the home, have the right credit score, and they will get you in it.
Right. And you're stuck.
Like Chuck.
Right. So it's almost like a trap, especially for young people. Like young people, and we spoke about like social media and coveting different things, and you can do a little bit and get enough access to start your way into just buying and buying and buying. I got this, I got that, I got this car, I got these shoes, I got all this stuff. I don't make enough to pay for it. Mm-hmm. I can't get it right now. And with the right now culture, immediate gratification, I'm just going, all right, I can put on this credit card and I'll worry about it later. I'll worry about it another time. And I've definitely got myself wrapped up in trouble in situations like that. I had to fight my way out. Somewhat, I'm still fighting my way out. It ain't, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. But I definitely have a plan of prosperity because this over with. I don't care nothing about you. I ain't playing your game. I don't care nothing about your credit. Once I get what I need, it's gonna be cash from now on.
Yeah, I mean, you play the game to best suits you, and be very clear about it, man. It is a game, and if you're educated on the ways of how to win, then you'll be far more successful with the game. In terms of what we said from the beginning, investing credit and debt, let me just touch a couple of those things. One, investing is very important. And I'm not going to talk like you, like I'm some financial investing whiz and I know these things, but I can give you at least a start. I was taking an inventory over my finances in my life yesterday because I knew this podcast was coming up. And I can check off every one of these boxes in terms of I have money being invested right now. Right. I get a statement that tells me what I'm in. I do not monitor it every day like some people. That's not my thing. There's a company that we pay who does it, and they do it. And I've been doing that for a little while. I have that covered. And all glory to God, I have made a return. In fact, I'll get into it. I made $4,000 last year doing nothing. Right. I made $4,000 last year doing nothing, just the money working for me. So, and in terms of credit, I have 3 credit cards. I'm disciplined enough, and at the end of it all, that's what it comes down to: discipline. Discipline, self-control. We can give you all the notes, we can give you all these techniques, but if you are devoid of discipline and self-control, you will find yourself in the same stronghold, bondage type of situation that you are. There are people who are living check to check. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire. and do not be consumed with the illusion that everybody's getting bags and getting money. It's not. Statistically speaking, there's 350 million people in this country. Only 3% or 2.8% are millionaires. That means if you were taking a test, you got a 3%, 97% is wrong. So everybody who's saying they're balling out of control, it's a facade. It's a image. It's insatiable. It is an image that you're trying to obtain, and that segues to even the Joneses, that you will never, ever, ever fulfill. You can't do it.
Right. Well, even some of the false things that come from having debt, having credit, having money, period, it's just for us in the middle class or the perceived lower class. Mm-hmm. We have a big debate and fight. And a lot of times it turns political about why we can't get access to what the upper class has acquired, even though it's taken them years, sometimes generations of years, a complete head start. It don't matter what race you are or anything. It's not about racism. Is a tool that I believe the upper class uses to keep the conversation and fight up between the middle class and lower class going, so that we won't question why the separation so much.
Oh, you're talking about diversion.
Oh, yeah. Meaning that I believe it's something like it's less than 10% of the population owns over 50% of the world's wealth.
Now, understand, make that plain.
Okay. 10% of all the people in the world.
In the world.
They have ownership of more than half of the entire world's wealth. So 50% of all the money that you could potentially have,
it's 10%.
10% of the people have it.
That's monopolizing.
That is the question. Why is that there? Mm-hmm. How do we access a part of that 50% that only 10 of y'all have if it's 100 of us in the world?
Yeah.
Right? So we fighting over the 50% through other vehicles like racism, like whether your generation, we blame stuff on millennials or baby boomers, whatever. Because the true rich people could care less.
Yeah, why would they?
It's about green. I don't care if you black, Arab, whatever. Do you have the money? And if you have the money, you're invited to the party.
That's absolutely.
I could care less.
Sure. Well, that's the only color at the end of the day most people see. If you dabble or dig deeper north, you'll know that the source of all wrong and evil, if you dig and do your research enough, it's money.
Yeah.
The greed, the money. It's, in fact, even on a smaller scale, I have never seen so much greed in my life. And I've been in the streets of Pompano than I have working for the place I work for. The level of greed and insatiableism is unbelievable. And people will backstab, kill, wars, and everything for this money. Rich, to me, is a state of mind.
Yeah.
It is a state of mind. Can I afford a Maserati today? Absolutely not.
Right.
But I can afford this Ford Focus that will take me to the same place where this Maserati is. Right. We have to stop being confused by the mirage that success is determined on materialistic things. Absolutely. That's going to fade anyway.
Right.
I told somebody like this here, man, and I was listening to Dave Ramsey. Shout out to Dave Ramsey. I'm not sure if you know who he is. But I was listening to Dave Ramsey, and this woman and her husband, they're 30 years old. They make $230,000 a year together. Now, let me show you how much money that is in perspective. The annual median income is about $50,000 to $60,000 for middle class, and then it's about $40-some thousand for African Americans. I need you to understand that. So they're making $210,000. In other words, they're making more than probably 95% of the country, contrary to what you may see. With that being said, they have $800,000 in debt. So you're like, how the world they got $800,000? They got $250,000 worth of student loans between the two of them. They got another $100,000 worth of credit card debt. They got house, which you got to add that to your debt. That's cost $300,000. They are living what they call as a 10-time or 10x, which means you're living 10 times over your means. Right. You make $200,000 a year, yet you still struggling and will never get out of this. They've gone to consolidation people and all this kind of stuff. That goes back to the old mantra. It's simple for me. The more money you make, it's not about that. It's about how much money you got going out.
Right.
And if you don't understand that simple logic, you will continually be in debt, frustrated. Debt, I believe, or it has been for a while, is the number one cause of divorce. Money problem.
I can believe it. Because like we talked about before, your mind can't rest.
No.
When you owe somebody that much money, you owe so many different people.
Yeah. They gonna call every month. They remind you.
So what you're basically saying is that they make that much money, and neither one of us, we don't.
No.
They're broken enough.
Sure.
You put it out on paper or whatever and do the math, we have truly more wealth than them.
Ain't no doubt about it.
Right. Even though, to me, wealth, you have to qualify. It's financial wealth.
Yeah.
Because wealth is the stuff you get for free and you don't have to pay for it.
In my opinion,
the people in this household is what makes you wealthy.
Yeah,
in my household it makes me wealthy.
Yeah, your people who love you.
For sure.
Health,
that's
mindset. Sure.
Absolutely. You don't have that. That's the thing that money can't replace. I can't buy that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I can't buy these relationships.
No.
I can buy a partnership, but in all that's business.
Rich people kill themselves too.
Oh, yeah.
We see it on a first-hand basis.
Right.
I have met some of the 1%ers of this world. I'm talking about multi-billionaires in my other job when I do teaching. And I've seen the family dynamics where the kids don't talk to the parents. It's dysfunctional. It's drug use. And what they're desiring is the reason why I'm there. They want more time.
Right.
And that, my friend, is under the sovereignty of Christ, of God, and you cannot buy that.
Don't get me started on that, because I have an infatuation with time. We can do a whole time show the way I feel about time. Matter of fact, I do have some tattoos. My whole right arm is about time. The statement on my arm says that time is currency.
Sure.
It is truly your money. And it is, in terms of a biblical perspective, we talked about it. I feel like, to me, and maybe other people do too, if you truly read, the first thing that God ever created was the binding of us in time.
Yes, he did.
The first thing that it says is in the beginning, which is a reference of time.
Absolutely.
Which is showing you who I am, and I'm the only one who can grant you time.
Yeah.
The only thing that you can do with your time is give it. Mm-hmm. You can't buy it. You can't earn it. All you can do is give it.
Yep.
It's the most valuable thing you have.
Do not be confused or deceived.
Yeah, don't let me get too deep in that. We'll be here all day.
Well, this is our show, Chase.
Oh no. Well, we got other stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we will.
So we're gonna move on. So our second topic that's just as important as the first is savings, emergency fund, and what the lost money generation is something that I found out about. They're considering like millennials. So as I talked about savings, to me, there's levels of savings. In my opinion, this is how I decided to do it. And we're probably going to learn some more about this, because we're going to open this topic up. We're going to revisit this again with some financial savvy people. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's their passion. So savings, to me, I have emergency funds, which is like off limit stuff. Like emergency fund is for if I'm not getting paid anymore.
Gotcha.
For whatever reason. I don't work at Pompano no more. I done got fired. Yeah. Whatever. It's to maintain my household like I was still working for a period of time.
So you saying that even though statistics say that the average American don't have more than $400 dollars
Right.
in their saving accounts. I want to reiterate that because people think people balling out of control. It's not happening, man.
No, it's fake.
It's a mirage, and stop trying to keep up with that. We can't control what's going on a governmental level. We can't control what goes on with furloughs and shutting down different things. But what we can control is the choices and decisions we make as it relate directly to our household.
Right.
And we have to take full accountability for that. Now go ahead.
Like Yo Gotti said, ain't no regular people left.
Yeah.
Right. There ain't nobody regular.
No.
So emergency money.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondary to that is what I call old shit money.
What you say?
That's old shit. I didn't expect that to happen, but I can cover it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the dryer breaking.
Yeah. Yeah, you gonna bring that up. I was waiting on that old.
I know it was coming. Somebody broke a dryer.
The dryer breaking
in the Roberts household.
The dryer broke while I was on the phone with Chase.
I was on the phone with him, and
I was not happy. But I can tell you this: I fixed that dryer, Chase.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
I thought a new dryer was gonna get delivered today.
Man, I fixed that dryer.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey,
but however, if I had to buy another dryer, I have put enough money aside where I can go and buy it outright without financing it.
Right.
This ain't us being braggadocious like we got all the answers, like we got all this money.
No.
This is us being fiscally responsible with the money that's afforded of us.
Absolutely.
It does not matter how much you made. I gotta reiterate, it's how much you got going out.
Right.
On foolishness, and we'll touch about what most people got money going.
Oh yeah, let me get some full transparency on that. The emergency money that I was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't have an emergency money to people where I'm at. I'm still growing it. I'm not there yet.
Gotcha.
Like so, a lot of stuff is new to me as I'm talking about it. I'm starting to get there. Once I get to where I need to be, then.
But the mindset is there, and that's where it starts.
Right,
that's the most
absolutely.
important.
My mind understands that for sure. I had to change my mic some. I was sounding all funny in my head.
You took care of it?
Something was odd. Okay, but yeah, my mindset has changed or whatever, and now I'm starting to allocate these funds appropriately. But so back to the old shit money. Yeah, that old shit money is. It could be a specific amount. Say it's like $5,000. So whenever I get it, that part of it to $5,000, that part of the budget, it just stays there.
Gotcha.
Because I know that could cover most of the stuff they make
What
in
if
my
you
house.
want these new Jordans, or more importantly, the new cell phone, the iPhone 10XXWPYZLONELYN coming out? It ain't no different than the other phone, and it's only $1,200. You know what? We'll finance it for you. When in the world did it make sense to finance phones? Like, this is crazy to me, man. A phone?
Yeah, I'm good on that.
Go ahead.
Now, if I want a new iPhone, the money for it ain't coming out of old shit money.
Okay, good.
They ain't got nothing to do with it. That's something that I need to have operating, working correctly all the time that me and my family gonna use.
So there's a difference between a need and a want?
Like the dryer.
I need a dryer.
I need a washer.
Yeah,
there's other things I can do. I can go to the laundromat.
Yeah.
If I didn't have those shit money. Yeah. But I got it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to.
And I ain't got no clothes hanging in the backyard.
Ain't no clothes lying back there.
No, ain't
not in my yard. Yeah. We done grew past that.
Well, thank God.
Grandma, we done with that. We good. So then, as far as savings, you have long-term savings, and that's for what happens when you retire and when you're done. I'm done working. It's time to truly live my best life. I've been saving this money, me along with my spouse or whatever your situation may be. Now we're going to use that to carry us the way. And it should be enough so we can live a little differently than we did before.
Yes.
We can take these trips, go these places, have the experiences that we couldn't before or that we couldn't afford, because if we would have done it, it took away from our old shit money, or we had to take it out of our emergency money or something like that, or the money that would sustain our household in case one of us got sick, or your mama got sick, or a child got sick, something like that. That's where the emergency money stuff comes into play. Right. And then you have the short-term money.
Gotcha.
The short-term money, it could be for whatever you decide. Mm-hmm. We have short-term savings for, we want to go on vacation. We want to take our whole family to Italy.
And by all means, enjoy yourself.
Right.
Live your best life. Just be able to, damn it, afford it.
Save it. Right.
Have something.
How long is it going to take us? How much can we give out our own personal money that we can spend on a day-to-day basis, or check to check, whatever we can use, whatever we allow ourselves to have freely to put away to get us to a certain amount to take this trip?
Yeah.
Right? That's one thing. Short-term savings doesn't have to be one specific account. And it doesn't have to be multiple accounts. It's just a part of a budget. Okay, another part of the budget could be, for me personally, ain't got nothing to do with nobody else, but getting that iPhone that I want.
Yeah.
Or the drone that I want.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm going to take after all the bills are paid and all the savings are accounted for, the higher level savings, meaning the emergency fund and shit money, we take care of that.
Yeah.
Now I got this money that I can spend for these next 2 weeks. This is mine. I'm going to take half of that and put it in here so I can buy this whatever I want in 3 months. Right? And then I'm going to go and pay for it with my credit card and then pay the credit card off so I get the points for it when I bought it.
Well, and let's talk about that for a moment, because I didn't understand that, because like I said earlier, that people taught me that credit card was no good. There are certain credit cards that will pay you for using it in its simplest terms. They give you money and rewards for using it. And when I say use it, there are people who are disciplined enough to use this credit card for every essential thing. When I say essential, I mean things they need. Gas, grocery, things they would have purchased anyway. The difference is they're disciplined enough to pay the entire balance off for the month. That means they have no interest being accumulated because they have no carryover, and the credit card company is giving them a certain amount of money just for that. They're banking on the fact that you're not going to be able to cover your offenses. I can sum all these financial problems and concerns up in one word, and I thought about it, and we'll continue with the show, obviously, is discipline and self-control. It's as simple as that. Right. You know, and also when you're able to understand how the industries and the companies works, credit card companies, things, you're educated in your knowledge, have the discipline enough to do better. And I want to say this real quick, Chase. All the women, because majority, and there's some men obviously who do the same thing in relationships, put a lot of pressures on men to have a certain lifestyle, whether it's a certain type of home, a certain kind of car, a certain kind of image they're trying to keep up with. Mm-hmm. Stop putting that pressure on your husbands to afford you that and stressing them out and causing them problems. Even if he's doing it, that's not good. It's not necessary. You can have some nice things, but within limits. And on the flip side, men, be men enough to say, heck no, we ain't doing that. And if she can't understand that, then you got to deal with the consequences. As a real man, you make the best decisions for the entire household. And like I just told Chase earlier this morning, there are several times that my entire house is upset with me, probably except for Bam Bam. You know who that is. That's the dog. And it's because they're unhappy with what I'm doing, but I'm looking at the bigger picture and the long-term picture for the entire family.
Right. Then we get into the lost money generation, and that's the idea that money and retirement and the benefits that we would typically get right now as far as Social Security and having savings in their retirement is going to be pretty much none.
You mean it's going to go away?
It's going to go away. It's going to be considered the lost money generation, period. Like, what's going to happen when we get to that point? What's going to happen when the country can no longer, by managing a deficit, can no longer afford Social Security benefits for an entire generation of people
who put into it?
Yeah. Who put into it, but they didn't hold money back or save anything. So now they can't even afford themselves. But they're too old to work now. Yeah. What happens then? You know what I mean? Where are they gonna go?
Yeah, I don't have the answer to that, but I tell you what, and it's a different mind state, and I'm gonna keep harping on that. You and I said this yesterday. If you are waiting to retire at 65 years old, then you've already
out
failed.
Of your mind.
You have failed. That is the norm. What they tell you, if you have to retire,
that's a trap too.
Absolutely it is.
Trap.
At 65, you have already failed. Let me make it plain to most people. The problem is not making enough. It's just you spending too doggone much. If you make $400 every 2 weeks, it ain't nowhere in the world you're going to be able to survive spending $450 every 2 weeks. If you make $400 every 2 weeks, and granted that's small, you have to maintain a lifestyle on $300 a week at least, and at least be able to put $100 a week away. That's the kind of mindset you have to have. You know, and I tell you, nobody spends more money than black people. We make up 14% of the population, yet we spend $1.2 trillion. Trillions. That's 1,000 billions.
Absolutely ridiculous, man.
$1.2 trillion. In fact, and even on the side of that, so that's saying, let me make that plain. We make the least money, statistically, make up a small portion of the country's race, and we spend more money than everybody. And the people and the retailers know that, because we only know one thing.
Right.
Floss and flash. That is a internal and a mindset that has to change. It's cool for you to wear nice things. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't. Within reason, there's a significant difference between needs and wants. I've been called cheap. I've been called frugal. I've been called a whole bunch of things. But the same people who call me these names are the same people calling me to borrow money.
For sure. That's for sure. And the answer has to be no.
Well, it depends on the situation.
Yeah, well, most of the time it has to be. Gotta be. Another thing, when it comes to savings, emergency fund, lost money, retirement, and everything, and what you allocate out of your income to savings,
okay,
we got to stop hiding it. I feel like a lot of times, like I may be doing it, but I need to share my thoughts and what I'm doing the same way we're doing this podcast with the people who I love the most, like to make sure that they're doing it, so they won't get caught up in that lost money generation. It said that 70% of wealthy families will lose their wealth by the second generation. So one generation gained a bunch of wealth. 70% of those same families will lose it the next generation. And 90% of them will lose it by the third. And that's according to the Williams Group of Wealth. That
is mind-boggling, sad, and astonishing to me, that statistic. And you know, it goes back to what I talked. Let me tell you something. We have to change that old school mentality that we have, specifically as black people.
Right.
We have to change that whole thing that I'm going to work, I'm going to struggle, I'm going to pay off my house, I'm going to die, and I'm going to leave this house for my family to fight over. And even based on the statistics, they ain't going to take care like you did. In fact, 70% of them will not even have it, and 90% won't have it. We are talking about building generational wealth. And that starts, for me, it starts with me. I have 4 children, and I have a plan and set for them to be, at least have a platform to exceed what I was able to do. At least be able to give them something. If you cannot give your kids monetary things, and trust me, I understand that, you can give them a different mindset on the importance of their credit, the importance of saving, the importance of building wealth. I told somebody this. I said, you know, my daughter's off in college. I necessarily don't have a bunch of $1,000s to give her right now. Well, I wouldn't give it to her right now. It's just not wise. She's 18 in college. She's going to blow that. But with all that being said, I said, I'm going to add my daughter on my credit card. And that's exactly what I did. I took her social security number. I added it on my credit card. I did not give her a credit card because I want her to be able to step out of college and have established credit already. Right. Because I know I'm going to pay my bill.
Right.
and she's reaping the benefits of it. So even if you can't give your kid financial thing, give them the mindset and do things like that so that you can set them up for success. It's not all about money. In fact, it's more of a mindset and setting them up properly.
Exactly. She has an established credit and didn't even know it.
No, she still don't know it.
What?
She ain't gonna listen to the podcast, but she still don't know it. Even though I told her to tell her friends about it.
She probably gonna listen. If she would listen, she'd probably spit a drink out. Wait, hold on, what? I'm a who card? Let me order one of them cards.
Deja has an American Express.
Wait, Deja got what? That's crazy. One of the most financially savvy people in my life that I've ever known has been my grandmother. My grandmother is no joke. Yeah. She learned from her father that at least, I'm pretty sure, for her whole life, everything she made, she saved at least 10% of it. Off the top. Absolutely. Right? Off the top.
Yeah.
Retired, very well to do, with her own money or whatever. Did very well. It didn't matter what nobody was doing. This money, I know. I'm going to tell you what I got this here. Yeah. Right? And I wish that I would have seen it. Mm-hmm. I had heard about it before she would have sat me down and had a conversation with me about what she was doing, how she was doing, why she was doing. And look, this is how much money I got in here. Yeah. Right? She was very private because when it comes to financial matters, people started getting into your business. They'll
start asking for your cash.
But the thing about my grandma was, I don't understand why she didn't do it because she don't have a problem telling your ass no.
But that's also very important.
It's just, you could have showed me, and if I'd asked you for something, you'd have told me no, and had no problem with it. No.
I ain't going to be able to do it.
How about that? No, I can't do it.
I mean, I can, but I'm just not.
Right.
That's also an aspect. When you start to gain wealth or people could count your pocket that you have a couple of dollars, you have to know the difference between helping and enabling.
Right.
There are times when you can help a person to get out, and then there are certain times when people come to you with the same sad story over and over again. And there's sometimes it's going to be tough. You got to be like, no, I'm not going to be able to do it.
Right.
Hard time builds character.
Yeah. Just her showing me that I know, even from when I was working in the bank, and she worked in the bank. Mm-hmm. She just retired from a bank. She retired from SunTrust. If I'd have saw that and how long it took to do what she had done, it would have meant probably the world to me and my understanding.
Yeah.
Early on, before I got into a position where it was all on me, or prevent me from making some of the mistakes, or know how catastrophic some of them could be.
Yeah.
Right. Or knowing that I could have started early, done probably maybe a little less than her, and exceeded her by the time I got to retirement or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And that kind of stuff. So with that being said, it kind of segues us right into our third section, which is going to be about retirement and retirement products and what a lot of people know and don't know about it. We said already that the retirement age aspect is a joke.
It's a joke.
You're going to tell me, okay, whether it's pre-tax or post-tax, I don't care. You're going to want me to put my money in this account.
Yep.
And
I'll never get all of it back that I put in.
Right. I'm gonna put money in this account. I'm earning interest on it and stuff like that. But you're gonna use it though while it's there.
Oh, I know that.
You're gonna use it and make interest off of it while I put money in it.
Yeah.
Until I'm 65 years old, and then you'll let me get my money back without penalty.
Yes.
Because if I take it before that, I can get it, but we're gonna hit you over the head.
Ain't no doubt about it.
Right. So the more I have in it, the bigger the hit is.
Yeah.
Right, I gotta wait till I'm 65 to start taking this money out, to start doing what I want to do with my money and my cash. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely crazy.
Asinine. It's a joke.
If you think retirement age being 65 is not a joke, I just don't disassociate myself with you.
Well, you can educate them and still talk to them, Chad.
I'm close to 70 years old, and that's when I get to do what I want to do.
And not to mention the average living age in this country is about 77 to 78 years old. So let me be clear about it. I can start working at 15 because as soon as you start working, you start putting into Social Security. Right. I can work to 65, 50 years putting in this account, and you banking on me to live at least a little bit of 13 extra years when I can't really do anything. And when you black, that's shortened because of high blood pressure, diabetes, a plethora of things that we'll discuss in later episodes.
Eating biscuits and gravy.
Well, you can't eat it every day, but you can listen to it every week.
Every week you did. Sure can.
It won't hurt you. A little do. Just a little. Like a little sab. A dab will do.
Yeah, so man, I tell people don't go for it. Retirement age is whatever you decided it is.
Yeah.
Right? You decide what your retirement age is. Right? So that keeps you hungry for an increase.
Yes.
Right? So you say getting after the bag. I'm not necessarily getting after the bag. I'm getting after my life. Right? I don't want to get caught up in just being this skilled worker.
No.
Right? You know what I'm saying? I deserve better. I can get better for myself. Right? I can learn something. I can make myself an answer to a problem and something I enjoy doing. Something that is my calling. And I can take that and people will give me money.
Sure. Absolutely they will.
Right. I tell my daughter, retirement age, I tell her all the time, retirement age is not 65.
No.
You are only one idea away from retirement. One idea and you can do what you want. So you question everything. Think of how to make something better, easier. What do you like? What do you love? What can you do? What can you contribute to a problem? If you find a problem, you solve it, that could be it.
And you can get paid for the rest of your life. I'm going to say this. I thought about it because the way you speak to your daughter, the way I speak to my daughter and my kids, my daughter think I'm always trying to preach to her. But she'll figure out one day when she gets, her own children. The fact of the matter is, our people well before us, our grandparents and things of that nature were not privy to this information.
Right.
You know, and even if you take it back further, their parents weren't privy to it. They were still slaves. They couldn't read. It was illegal to be educated.
Right.
And people do not understand how long that set us back as a people.
Right.
We couldn't learn how to read, so all the kids we had didn't read either.
Yeah.
And we have grandparents to this day who still illiterate.
Yeah.
So what we've learned and what we've seen, I didn't see college. It wasn't an option when I was coming up. That changed in my generation.
Right.
That changed for me. That will change for my kids. That's a different mindset. So when we know better and we're equipped with the information, we have to utilize this information, this knowledge appropriately so that we can change the mantra of what perception is for black people. We can be successful. Right. And success is not equated with dollars that you have.
Right.
I need to emphasize that. If you can work for 30 years at a job, keep showing that back, whatever it is you do, there's nothing wrong with it. And you manage your money, you put some money away. Let's say you never invest. You're able to buy homes, and a lot of black people don't own homes either. That builds to your wealth, man. If you're able to purchase a home,
purchase a bunch of them. You know, I want a bunch of them.
And we're going to definitely try to do that too.
Yeah, we're going to bust out, man, we make a move.
Yeah. But when you own a property and when you work and you save something and you pay off your mortgage, you can have a handsome, comfortable retirement and live appropriately. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem comes in simply when we got so much money coming out. And when you sit back and look at it, it's really for nothing. I remember when I bought my truck, right? My Navigator. I was paying, I'll divulge this information. I was paying about $800 a month for it, right? It was a fly truck. I still had a truck. It's a nice truck. But anyhow, I'm going to keep it because it's paid off. I work hard to pay off that truck, Jay. So anyways, I bought the truck, and it was a nice truck, and I'm hearing the different compliments. I was like, I'm turning 30 years old, and I want to do this. I want a big boy truck. This is what I said. I was making a couple of dollars. And mindful, I had already purchased my wife's car, so I already got one car payment. I'm going to tell you about this financial disaster that I did, and you should never do and try to get out as best you can. And so I had done that. Then I bought this truck. I did the paperwork. Okay, I can afford this. Okay, not giving into account something else coming up, not having a buffer, not considering these things. And so I got the truck or whatever, and I was driving it to Orlando with the family. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, this is how it came to me. After being disgusted with paying the car payment every doggone month, and they getting their cash.
They don't get it now.
I'm driving, and I'm like, okay, the old lady sleep, the kids in the back watching TV, and they chilling, and I'm driving. So I can't even see how good this truck look because I'm driving. If I want to see how good the truck look, I literally got to let somebody else drive it for me.
The steering wheel feel good, though.
Yeah, and I'm driving. I'm tired. I don't reap the benefits of the television. I don't, because I can't watch it. I'm driving. Right. The fact of the matter is, like, okay, Lynn, who really is reaping the benefit of this, and who got played? And then I see that Honda Pilot pass right past me.
Right.
Better gas mileage, probably last longer, a lot cheaper, and we're going to the same destination. That was profound to me. Listen, and I made a promise to myself. I made a promise to God because it was a struggle. I remember doing payday advances, Chase, just to get over. And that's a setup, too.
That's a cycle. That's a trap. You get caught up in that. You have to at some point.
It's like you borrowing money because you ain't got no money, but you already in debt.
Right.
And you're getting further and further into it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling somebody who can probably relate to this. Oh, let me be clear. I was working at the fire department at this time. It goes back to it's not how much money you make, it's how much you got going out. I made a promise to myself and to God. I said, Lord, if you get me out of this trap. I was struggling, man.
Yeah.
Got to work different jobs. Lord, if you get me out of this, I will not do that again. And that was the beginning of my financial place. You know, I'm going through all this, paying these car payments. I end up getting sued from this freaking realty company and all this. Taking, I think at the time, shout out to my wife for holding us down, man. Thank God the girl had a good job. They was taking like 10 or 15% of my salary, man. Right. That's the first time I met Goldie Kitchen.
Goldie?
Go to her office. Just want to let you know that these people going to be taking this money. You say, what? What? So, in other words, 15%, the more money I work to make, still they taking more money.
Right.
And I went through all those different things that brought me to this point now. Right. Be mindful, man. Make wise decisions. I still have that same truck. I paid it off. It's been paid off for years. I take care of it. I want a new truck. I had this conversation with Chase, and I can actually afford the truck now without any problems. But it's a financial awful decision. I can allocate those monies to something else and get that at another time.
Right. Yeah, we talked about how we're going to get there, though. We're going to work together.
Don't you worry about that.
We're both about getting them trucks. Cash.
Yeah, cash. That's going to not pay no payments.
So
it's possible.
So, and I know so many people, close friends of mine, and maybe even some family members who literally don't have a thing. Like a thing that they've saved for a retirement in the future, and what happens when they stop working and when they get old. Like, not a dime.
Yeah, I know that.
And we're all around the same age. I'm 30 years old. We're around the same age. Like, so you're starting, if it is 65, right? You cut into what, 10% to 20% of the time that you have to work already, and you have nothing saved for it, and it's crazy. So some retirement products that we have, one being like a 401k, which we don't have as a part of our investment package with our employer. We don't, because we have something called a pension. We'll get to that in a second. We'll explain to that, because a lot of people don't know what a pension is or how it works.
I just want to give God the glory.
Oh, absolutely. Pensions everything.
God.
Everything. But they're going away.
Yeah.
Most, especially privatized companies, you don't have a pension. You will not get a pension out of them. You're going to have to save your own through investment products, 401ks, IRAs, whether it be Roth IRAs and whatnot. And we are not financial advisors. We are not financial savants or anything like that. We just know that these things are important, and you have to start to utilize these things. So a 401k is a type of investment account. And there's certain tax benefits to it, just like IRAs are. Your money is typically invested in a fund or distributed it among several funds, utilizing a technique called dollar cost averaging, so that it can almost guarantee you an increase or a gain on your money. Or a
return.
Right? It is equivalent to you open up an investment account, putting all your money in, say, one stock. Now, the thing with that stock is, with the volatility and the risk you put into it, you could lose all your money, potentially end up owing money.
Yeah.
Right? So if the company you invested in or the product you invested in does well, you get a bunch of money. Yeah. You did great.
Yeah.
It's better to use dollar cost averaging amongst a plethora of investment products or investment companies.
Put your dollar into a whole bunch of stocks so that you don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right. So that when some go up, if some go down, I didn't lose.
Yeah.
Right? These others may go up, some others may go down, and I didn't lose. It's going to average out an increase on my money over time.
Yeah.
Right? And all of these products are typically doing the same thing. Yeah. And that's why it's good to have someone who knows a little more about that, so they can tell you which ones to invest in, which ones, or even some are specifically set up to be aggressive, moderate, or there'll be a low risk option. And depending on where you're at in your career, you may want to have more money being aggressive, less money being aggressive, and switching it up that way.
If you're at the beginning of your career, you can go a little more aggressive because you got time over the long haul. But when it's time for you to reach a certain age to getting up out of there,
it's time to be more conservative.
Yeah, you want to be a lot more conservative.
Right. That's the typical way things need to go. Even from the stock market to the average person, risking a stock going down is a frightening thing.
Yeah.
When in fact, the truth of the matter is, you're looking at the number, not the fact that you're not going to just pull this money out right away.
Yeah.
And that's when you should put more money in.
Absolutely.
You get more shares, more of a portion of the company's total allocated stock shares.
Sure, you own more.
You own more.
Yeah.
Right. That's when you need, I need to put more money in.
Absolutely.
Now, right.
And that's one phone call away for me.
Another thing with these financial products is, especially if you get it through your employer, a lot of times they have a benefit where they'll match you a certain percent or a certain dollar amount. What that means is, if back when I was at Washington Mutual, they had probably the best matching that I've ever seen. I believe it was 6%.
That's probably why they closed down.
It's kind of unheard of now. They would match you up to 6% of what you put into your 401k. So if I put in 6%, they're going to give me another 6.
So in essence, I got 12.
That's 12, right? If you put in 10, they'll give you the max of 6 still. Man. So you got 16% of what you made going into this account. Now, with that, so a lot of companies still do that. I don't think they're doing 6% anymore, but they'll match you 3 or something like that.
But even with that being said, Chase, that's making money that you're not doing work for.
Yeah, they're giving you that money. Yeah, you didn't earn that money. No. That's just a benefit. They give it to you.
And the reason they give it to you, because the more money or the more funds they allocate for that, the more money they can invest on. Right. You know what I mean? There's a lot of power in groups and tons. Everybody putting their there's what is it called? There's strength and there's what is it called? Strength and power, strength and numbers. Strength and numbers. So that's the why, and you can benefit from it. But a lot of us, we don't do it because we just don't know. It's unheard of. And honestly, if I had not listen, open my ears, even when they didn't think I was listening, and listen to different people at my job and do things like that, I wouldn't have done it. I thank God I have a pension set up for me. Now, be mindful, man. It's self-control. They take almost 12% of my salary.
Right.
And that's almost 12% of my salary, and they've been doing it for 14 years.
Right.
Okay, and they put that away from me. And now when I first heard it, I was like, no, man, I'm 23 years old. Let me get my money, all of it. Right. I manage it. I wouldn't have. Let me just be honest. So I'm grateful for that. And then I also got different avenues and I'm not a stock whiz at all. I read books, I watch YouTube, I talk to people who are savvy about it, and I the bottom line is this. I told Chase this. I am not chasing wealth in terms of monetary gain. I'm not trying. I want to be a millionaire. I got a goal to make this. No. I'm trying to have generational wealth and financial independence. And that simply means for me, I'm able to afford the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to and not have to show up to somebody's job every day for those funds.
Absolutely.
I've made enough to sustain the simple lifestyle I live, and I want to go and travel every now and again.
It's absolutely, for sure. And when we go back to the matching that we talked about, they'll match you and they'll put the equivalency of the 6% that you're putting. As long as you're giving it 6%, and we're just using that as an example, we'll put another 6 in. If you're doing 4, we're only going to give you 4.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we'll give you a max of 6. If you
so they're matching what you put in, but they'll top out at 6.
Now, so say over a period of time that ends up being $10,000, right?
It's for simple math.
You do not own that money yet. You do not have that money yet. It's in your account, and yes, it's working for you, but you will not have rights to that money until you get to a vesting period.
That's right.
Meaning that's a certain amount of time that you have to be employed with that employer for that to be yours.
That's 10 years for pumping on. It's still 10 years, right?
It's for my bonus 10 years. And that's with our pension.
Yeah.
That means that you have to work 10 years at Pompano. 10 years of service will get you access to the portion of the pension that you've already paid into, that you put your time into.
I'll make it plain. At a certain age, you will get paid for the rest of your life a certain percentage after you're vested in 10 years.
Correct.
Now, 10 years maybe be like, I don't know, 10%, 20%, whatever. The fact of the matter is they're going to pay you for the rest of your days at a certain age.
Exactly.
And that increased the longer you stay.
And that vesting period works the same way with other products with other companies. Yeah. That money that they put in for you, it may be 7 years. Once you're that 7 years, that 10 grand you put in, we matched you the same amount, that other 10 grand.
Yep.
Now it's all yours.
All yours.
Even if you leave, it's yours.
Yep.
You won't be able to pull it out without penalty, but it'll be in there for you.
On the back end, some way or another.
Exactly. We can't take it back.
But there are ways around that. You can stagger it.
Yeah, we can't take it back from you. Now, another thing in some education, we want to talk about how pensions work, because I know a lot of people that do not know how they work. So a pension, as far as our job, and we'll talk about ours is a little different because we have what's called a progressive multiplier.
Yeah.
But the multiplier is a certain number. Okay. So, for instance, our initial number is 3, right?
Yep.
3 is the number of a multiplier when we first start working at Pompano. 3 for 10 years, meaning that you take the years of service times that multiplier,
which gives you 30% after 10 years.
It gives you a percent, right? So after 10 years, you have earned 30% of the average of your top. It's 3, right? 3.
Yeah.
It's of your top 3 years.
3 years, top 3 years.
As far as income, the most you made out of 3 years, you've earned 30% of that as a retirement benefit.
So in other words, and I'm gonna tell you something right now, and that's after even 10 years and whatever. And you could do this actually. Dave Hartwell did it. If you work 10 years, because he ain't been at 10 years yet, you make $100,000 a year for round numbers. At that 3% multiply, even if you only work 10 years, now you can't collect that money until you're about 50, I think, nowadays. But Dave, his situation, I think, was 47. He would make $30,000 a year for nothing.
Correct.
Just based off those 10 years of service. So he could technically leave the Pompano Fire Department after 10 years if he earned $100,000 on those top 3 years.
If that was his average.
If his average was $100,000. He can leave that. Got hired at 20, he can leave there at 30, do another career, and when he turns 47 years old, they still got to pay him a check for the rest of his days for $30,000 a year, which ain't no chump change, because if nothing else, that'll pay a mortgage. That'll pay a mortgage if nothing else.
If nothing else, right.
Go ahead,
just those 10 years.
Just want to make it plain.
To talk about more about our job, some employers, that multiplier does not change. It'll be 3 or 3.5 for your entire career. So the more, once you hit your vesting period, you earned your access to that. But as you continue, the number still grows.
Yes.
For instance, using that same number of 3, if you were to work 30 years, now that times 3 is 90.
Yep.
Unless it's capped, that would be 90%
of your
average. So if your average of your top 3 years was $100,000, your allocation would be $90,000 a year for the rest of your life once you reach the agreed upon retirement age.
That's why I keep showing up.
Correct.
And we'll continue to show up.
That's what it will be. Ours is a little different because our multiplier, that 3 is progressive. Yeah. For the first 10 years, it's 3. For the following 10 years, it's 4.
Yep.
So bear in mind, 10 years at 3, we got 30%.
Yep.
The next 10 years, I'm at 4. So that's 40%.
It's 40, which
so
is 40 G's. For 10
plus that 30.
Got it. I mean, excuse me, 70%.
I'm at 70% after 20 years in Pompano.
So 20 years in Pompano at $100,000, I can make $70,000 a year for the rest of my life, not showing up. You just
once you retire.
Once you retire, once you reach that age.
And I'm not coming back.
Here's the thing about it, man, which is why they're going away with pensions. And you got to understand, people work 30, 40 years and don't even make $70,000.
Yeah.
A lot of times people make $30,000 after 30 years, and then they try to wait on their Social Security, which is a joke in itself.
Right.
So even if we just showing up, thank God for the people with the sensibility and the mind state to fight and negotiate for those things. We negotiate for those benefits, okay? We pay a certain amount of our salary for a unit who negotiate those different funds, and we vote on these.
Absolutely.
Thank God that we were in a place where we were able to do that. But even if you're not afforded an opportunity to get a pension like that, you can at least have self-control and a mindset to put something away. Here's what's not going to change. I don't care how good you look today and how much you work out, you are older than you were yesterday.
Right.
It's as simple as that. You're going to get old, your body will not be the same, and at the end of it, you're going to die. That's irrefutable. What have you done with the time you were on this earth in terms of your financing and what you've left your kids and your kids' children?
Right. A lot of women are after the man who's after the bag. Be after the man that's keeping the bag.
There it is.
Right. So we're going to start wrapping up for today. It was another awesome show. Every Friday, we got you. We're going to keep doing this, and we ain't going to stop.
No, man. We enjoy doing it. And we ain't getting paid.
Hey, we good. We ain't getting paid. At least not yet.
We wouldn't mind it, though. No. Yeah. Hey, listen, man, if y'all enjoy the show, like I said, man, we got a page on Facebook. Go ahead and leave comments, Instagram, Twitter. Shout us out, man. Let us know what we did good. As I always say, what we did bad. I want to shout out Oprah, just in case she listening.
Oprah, every show.
Steve Harvey. I'm just saying, we out here trying to do some things.
We sitting in your living room, Oprah. Right.
Well, we're in the playroom today.
I see more. I see beyond that.
My bad. Open you. Well, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. So, man, just keep supporting us, man. And we trying. Hopefully, you guys were able to learn something from it. And at the end of it all, man, save more than you got going out. It ain't necessarily to keep up with the Joneses, because who in the hell are the Joneses, anyways? P. Diddy, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Kanye West, the Kardashians can put all their money together, and it'd probably be equivalent to about $10 billion, and they still looking up at one Warren Buffett.
Right.
You let that marinate. The fact of the matter is there's always a ceiling. You always have somebody chasing somebody. It's insatiable, and it's a trick and a stupid mindset that needs to change.
Right. I want to give a shout out to somebody that's near and dear to my heart, a great friend of my family. We talked about him, and he rolled up on me in the gym. It was just by the grace of God. I literally talked about him that morning. It's my best friend, his stepdad, Victor Scott.
Yes, sir. Very
financially savvy person. I talked to him about coming on the show. In the next few weeks, we will bring him in and let him give you all this game, because he got a bunch of it. He's done very well financially, made some very financially smart decisions. Him and his wife. So you can look forward to him coming in the next few weeks or whatever, so he can, market himself and give you everything he has. Anything, he'll always be a part of business and gravy. You haven't met him yet, Lynn, but I'm telling you, he gonna be like.
Oh no, I believe it. Maybe put some more money in my pocket, so that's awesome.
Yeah. If anybody does want to be a special guest on the show, everybody that's close to us is welcome. Give us a topic, something that you're passionate about, and we'll happily discuss it.
Absolutely.
Happily discuss it.
Look forward to it.
For sure. And I'm going to finish it off by talking about something that we talked about before. I don't think I've ever said it on the show. As far as the difference between the wealth and the richest of the rich, and then the middle class and the poor. Yeah. We are part of the middle class because of what we made in finances. We are closer to the poor. Completely close to the poor. So much more close that it's indescribable. We talk about what we've allocated, the wealth that we found through whatever we're doing, right? And we'll call these $100,000 when you retire, you may have $1 million, and we're like, man, you did well. You got money, you got cash.
Only 3% of the country has that.
You are still broke. Absolutely broke, financially broke. Maybe not wealthy as far as what's the most important in your life, which it shouldn't be, but you are financially broke. I listen to people all the time talk about the money they're going to get in retirement like it's a bunch of money. It is nothing. I read an article, I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he is part of that 1%er group. He was at home, had the flu, never left his house. He made $27 million in that day. As long as there's a person out here who can make $27 million in a day with the flu, you are still broke, because you're not even close. You're so far, you couldn't throw nothing to get close to it. No. So understand that wealth is a mindset. You need to be on the road that way, not just for you, but for your family and your generations to come.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's it for us, man. We thank y'all for listening.
Appreciate it. And all to God be the glory.
Absolutely.
Peace out, man.
The purpose of doing this show, for the glory of the Lord. Period.
Peace out. Thank y'all for listening.